Women of Reddit, what are things men do that scares you but they don't realize? Messages you on a dating app commenting on having found your profile and that they are in the same location as you. They can see you but you can't see them. I had a guy do this on a fully packed train I was on to go to work. I'm not an anxious person but it felt really uncomfortable. Those apps need like a minimum number for the range it will tell you on how close you are to others. There's one app I know of that will go all the way down to how close in feet you are away from each other, and whenever I would be messaged by someone in that range it was always creepy as heck. Flirting is fun so long as you don't flirt by asking me where I live and if I live alone, and, as an expat, if I know people in the area. If you want to chat, flirt, get to know me, don't start with the questions that set off alarm bells in my head. I've been approached several times in public by random men who say they want to be friends with me. One leaned in really close to have a conversation and asked me where I was from and where I live. Another grabbed my hands and remarked on how soft my skin is. Another one literally locked arms with me and dragged me to a coffee shop to get to know me, and then later told me to come with him to a more private place for a view of the city. I weakly joke about it sometimes, but in the moment it really does make me nervous. I don't know if I just look really unimposing. I'm an Asian woman but I'm taller than average. But I'm not sure why it happens. Regardless, please don't just grab random women, even out of friendliness, and respect personal space. Asian woman here too. This happened to me a lot in NYC. A few times I got so sick of it I'd scream at them in the middle of the street and make a scene. They usually skitter away immediately. I hate to do that, but it's just infuriating. While talking online and I say I don't know about meeting up and their response is you are more likely to be raped by someone you actually know in person. Yup, not meeting up now. Yeah, if a dude is saying that, they are buttholes and know they are saying it. Calling them beautiful as much as possible. Once or twice is nice, if you know them. But if you don't know the guy and he says it too much it freaks me out. On a Tinder date, this guy kept telling me how beautiful my skin was while he watched me eat. He didn't get anything. There was no second date. Blocking my path or physically holding me in place if they are not done talking to me. Basically, using more strength size to restrict my motion in any way. I'm seeing so many comments like this. I cannot believe it is common behavior. I'm a large man and couldn't imagine making a woman stay where I want. That's frickin' creepy. Anytime someone tries really hard to convince me he's a nice guy, every guy I've met that desperately brings it up every chance he gets isn't usually very nice. It always makes me wonder, what are they trying to hide? Like, why do I have to think you're nice? Prove it with your actions. Don't tell me repeatedly. Any guy who says he's a nice guy is not a nice guy. Good people do not declare they are good. They just are good, without the announcement. Jokingly using your strength to move me or keep me from moving. If I want to go home and you're pulling me back, I am not actually going along with it. You are stronger than I am and I literally cannot leave. Even without using strength, just kind of blocking the way when talking to a woman. It usually happens at clubs or bars when a stranger talks to you. I am quite small, which makes it especially intimidating if I can only escape the situation if you step aside. Getting really intense about our friendship really early on. A lot of guys turn women into this kind of fantasy thing that's supposed to make them whole, help them change or whatever. So I am the main character in my own life, not just a supporting one in yours. When you put that pressure on me right away, abs without reciprocation, I know that I don't actually matter. You've been taught that women serve you. Driving really aggressively and having road rage. When I was younger and dating, I had so many experiences as a passenger with young guys who were otherwise normal but really intense and scary when they got behind the wheel. It always seemed like a red flag. Honestly, I think that men don't realize how frightening their rage can be. Maybe it's a trauma response, or maybe it's the fear that the rage will turn towards you. I don't know. Whenever I got in those situations, I would make myself small and quiet, not say a word unless prompted, get out of the car at the destination and never get back in a car with them again. English isn't my first language, so I can't really generalize this, but asking if I need a ride and keep pestering me when I decline. I used to walk home from school when this old man literally parked his car in front of me while I was crossing a small parking lot and asked if I needed a ride. I lied and said the house at the end of the block was my house. He did it a bunch more times until I had to change my walking route. It was a longer way, but I felt safe again. Wanting to go to a secluded location if I don't know you well. People on Tinder would suggest going on hikes or taking a walk after dinner on first dates. Didn't even cross their minds that I would not want to be alone with them on a date. Touching you in any way without permission, even if it seems harmless to you. Unfortunately, that happens rather often in retail. Don't touch my shoulder when you talk to me. Don't stroke my hair. Don't caress my hand when you give me your money. Don't touch my butt or my boobs or anything at all. Please respect my personal space. It freaks me out when male strangers come near me and touch me in any way. It gets extra creepy when they start to compliment me and won't stop trying to befriend me. Your compliment in those situations doesn't make me happy. They scare me. I need to leave my work later and I am scared that you will wait for me outside and catch me. I quit my last job because I had a manager in his 40s 50s doing that. There was another girl who quit because of him but never reported him. I called HR on his butt and they didn't do anything because they didn't have enough evidence. And I told them about the other girl and they told me if she called and reported him that would have been enough evidence to investigate. Freaking BS. Thinking no isn't the final answer. Believing that with a little more convincing and I'll say yes. It makes me believe you don't respect me and worries me how far you will go after I say no. Information hunting. If you have a convo with a woman and she doesn't readily give you information about her, like where she lives, her phone number, etc., that is not a challenge for you to go to her friends, stalk social media etc. to get that information. This also applies to men. Obvs. Unless there was a situation at a party where, IDK, a woman said she wanted to give you her number but forgot by the end of the night, or if you're trying to get a homework assignment, find someone to cover a work shift. There should never be a conversation that starts with, "Hey, I got your number from this random person who thought I was your friend when I'm not." If you have chemistry with someone, you'll both want to get to know each other naturally through the conversation and follow up, and not so much by treating that person like a research article and doing everything you can to dig up information on them. Like adding someone as a friend on Facebook because they're a friend of a friend. Totally normal. Talking about a subject they've made a post about, or an interest on their profile, alright. Sliding into their DMs like, "Hey, we met at this random place and talked for maybe 5 minutes, but I got your last name from a mutual friend and then googled you until I found your profile and other info, and I see from a post you made 6 weeks ago that you saw this movie at the theater local to you, so how about I meet you there for a movie this weekend?" I get that movies, TV shows have implied that people should be into the thrill of the chase or whatever, but if you're interested in someone, you'll respect boundaries. Asking for way too much information. Where I live. Specifically, not just which city. Who I live with. Oh, it must be scary living alone. Do you have any animals? Where I work, what hours I work. Nearly wanting a schedule of my life in order to schedule a date. And then wanting to go on secluded dates or calling up to my work to try and see if we could meet for lunch because I wasn't answering my phone. When a guy won't give up. He doesn't even have to be physically present. Being an adamant dong over text is enough to terrorize you sometimes. When I was on dating sites, I would get a message of "up yours." I would respond with something like, "What was that for? I know I shouldn't respond to those." Then they would reply saying, "Oh sorry, don't know how that happened. How are you?" If you do this to get attention of girls online, please stop. You aren't doing yourself any favors. When I was in the service industry, men flirting with me always made me really nervous. At that point, I was in a position where my whole job is to make the customer happy, and that would often be very at odds with my personal sense of this guy is creepy and I want him to go away. When you're on the clock, you have to be nice to people. You can't just tell a guy who is making you uncomfortable to frick off, nor can you just up and leave, especially if you're manning the register. You have to sit there and take it and play nice. And hope to God that they don't wait for you to get off shift so they can talk to harass you outside of work. Random touching and prodding. Had some guys in school that would just come up and poke you in the sides. Freaked me the frick out. Strangers complimenting me on my body really freaks me out. I also don't like people commenting on my hair, but that's because I'm ginger and I get a lot of sexualized comments. I once got fed up and asked someone to back off when they were doing this. Tried to be polite but firm. He responded by graphically threatening to rape me and followed me for 3 blocks. Not the only time I've gotten that kind of reaction. When you say you have a beautiful figure, it's not a confidence boost. I'm not grateful. I'm thinking of the men who have this kind of reaction lurking just under the surface of that compliment, and I'm wondering if I'm in a dangerous situation. Parking right next to my car in a darkened or empty car park. I've had this conversation with several girlfriends, but when I've mentioned it to men they had no idea about what goes through our mind when we see that. When I say I don't like something he said or did or joked about and he says you secretly like it, that makes my skin crawl and alarm bells start going off. Don't tell women what they like. I have a similar argument with my husband. He'll do the dad squeeze on my leg or start massaging my shoulders, but hard and it hurts. I'll tell him to stop or ease up, BC it hurts, and he'll tell me no, it doesn't. X said he'd bust into my apartment out of concern for my safety if I didn't answer the door or his calls texts. He lived right next door. BTW. When I said that it's called breaking and entering and grounds for calling the police, he said it'd be pointless because the police were his friends and therefore wouldn't do anything. Translation: I can do anything I want and you can't stop me. So I call the police anyway and they made him stop. He began to fill my mailbox with love letters and saying if I continued to ignore him, he'd move. I did continue and he made a big production of moving out. I closed my curtains and ignored him. It's scary when a man thinks a woman is weak and can bully her and finds out differently. So I'm recently single, over a month. And so far I've had guy mates pop into my DMs being friendly but certainly pushy. A couple of these were asking random questions that started getting a little personal under the guise of friendliness. Here's one of those conversations. This was a very old friend that I have not spoken to or seen in 12 years. Due to friend groups growing up and growing apart. We weren't really close either, just same friend group. Him: oh, you're single now? I thought you guys were buying a house together. Me: yup, I broke it off. Him: I see you go walking. Where do you walk? Me: just around a few places, nowhere specific. Him: do you still live at place? Me: no, I moved from there 7 years ago. Him: oh really, you moved? Where do you live now? Me: still with ex-partner until I move out soon. Him: oh, where you moving to? I lied here and named a large town nearby. Him: will you be living alone? Also lied that I'll have roommates. I get you're trying to have a friendly life catch up with me after 12 years, but there's an internal pressure to be nice despite me not being comfortable sharing certain information, especially knowing that I may be alone soon. So I need to be careful with the things I share. Also adding, this guy has a serious long-term GF. I've also had random guys insist on knowing my specific personal details even when I keep being vague and moving the conversation elsewhere. I live in so many fake places and attend so many fake colleges now. Like, asking where someone goes to school is pretty normal. Insisting on being told the name of the school for the 3rd time after multiple conversation diversions is unsettling. Customers who flirt with me while I'm working. Rare occurrence, but it's happened twice. Once alone. Male co-worker was stocking shelves but within earshot, and once flirting with both me and my other, and only other, female co-worker. I've got no escape, dude. I'm stuck here until clock out and I'm bad at coming up with dumb excuses to make my male co-workers come to my aid. As a dude reading this comment section, all I have to say is, WTF. Like grabbing someone and pulling them around to show your strength? Are you serious? Asking bartenders where they live and when their shift ends? Like, dude, just WTF. Me too. I see all the comments and I'm getting creeped out myself. I had a guy come into the store I worked at and leave within 10 minutes. Not even 5 minutes after he left, he had searched me up on Instagram and messaged me, as well as all other social media. He didn't have my last name and literally sat in the parking lot to search me up and message me. And then he came into the store a lot more to learn what shifts I worked and was always there. That's not endearing or cool, it's creepy and makes me not want to go to work anymore. Excessive and generalized compliments egg "you're so beautiful, you're so awesome, you're amazing" over and over again. A few times it's fine. But when it gets excessive you realize they're putting you on a pedestal, and they're not actually complimenting you. They're complimenting this dream version of you they've made up, evidenced by the fact the compliments are never specific to who you actually are. Also makes you wonder if they're the type to think if you insert enough compliments then you're obliged to give them something back. You make a good point about generic compliments versus specific compliments. "You're very pretty" from a person you barely know, or don't know at all, just doesn't feel genuine. It comes across as paying the toll for a chance to talk to you, with the hopes of eventually having sex. Touching me without my permission. I wish I could dong punch the people who said subtle touching is a great way to show someone that you're interested in them. No, don't touch me. I don't know you and you're in my personal space. Night out in the pub. There will always be one guy commenting that I haven't drunk much. "Oh, you're still on your first glass of wine. You drink slow. Why aren't you drinking, etc. Why are you counting my drinks? Creepy as F." I'm a lesbian. If a guy friend asks me out without knowing I only like girls, I won't care and just explain that I'm gay. If they ask me out a second time then I don't really want to talk to them anymore. Just a huge red flag in a friendship for me. Common female discussion. Unsolicited nudie pics. Equivalent to those creeps who hide behind the bushes trying to flash you. People need to realize 1 in 4 women have had some kind of sexual assault. Save it for your partner, or risk getting blasted or viewed as a weirdo perv. Grab you from behind at night to surprise you. My ex-boyfriend, 6 featuring 185 lbs, did this. He was on a trip and came back 2 days earlier and decided to surprise me. I was coming back from university at 9 PM and I felt that someone grabbed me and covered my face with their hands when I was about to enter my building. When I yelled, he let me go and he didn't understand why I insulted him and got angry. I don't cry easily but it took me 3 hours for the tremors to go away. Insisting when I've already said no. At first I just get angry, like come on I said no, move on and leave me alone. But the more they insist the scarier it gets because they usually get angrier and I have no way of knowing how they're going to react. Calling me sweet pet names like honey and sweetheart in a normal conversation. Like at the shopping counter or anywhere else I ask a question or mention something. Most of the time they don't even realize that they start with that and I'm annoyed at it, but for some reason it freaks me out when they call me that and I don't know them. IDKY. OMG yes. I mean some of those titles I'm okay with, but baby is the one that freaks me out. One time at work I was walking past an older man and he was like, "Good job baby, good job, oh." Driving recklessly and laughing when you get scared. Also pushing women to have a sense of humor when they want to be cruel. I never knew fear up until my buddy honks and deliberately cuts off a cop. Unasked for grabbing of any kind. Obviously, this especially happens to women with tattoos. Like it's appropriate to just grab a woman's arm and then act all defensive about it when we get mad, pull away. Staring. Oh my god, the staring. It's not cute. It's not attractive. I don't know you like that. An old man complimented my hair at the store the other day while I was waiting on an employee helping me, and he continued to stare at me until another employee had him pay for his stuff and he left. It was like a good 2 minutes, but when I told a guy friend about it, he saw it as a compliment. It wasn't. It was weird. I feel like I have to make a clarification. This post was mainly meant for women to be able to highlight the small things guys do that can be perceived as creepy or scary. I'm happy to have this much engagement in the comments, but I feel like it's unnecessary to argue about the practical views on this. This isn't so much this is scary because men wants to hurt me, it's this feels scary. Please listen and understand that people think differently and what scares some don't scare everyone. If you cannot do that then this post is not for you and I kindly ask you to leave. Thank you. I don't know why I was surprised to see actually and your feelings are stupid in a thread like this. It is Reddit, after all. It doesn't scare me but it 100% sets off alarm bells. I can't explain it, but trying to order me around as a joke. Like pretending to ask my opinion but not letting me answer. You're gonna come with me and do this thing right? Sure you are, come on. Or you'd let me sleep over, wouldn't you? Hahaha, you'd love it, I know you would. Nah bro, I ain't about that. Also leaning in real close and whispering things in my ear. Personal space. Not a woman, but I learned this from my ex, and it's getting angry at sport on TV. If you yell extremely loud and rant a lot of girls feel scared by it. Raising their voice in anger, even if it isn't directed at me, triggers a flight response. An obvious one, I know, but I think some men have no idea how scary that is. Also grabbing or hugging me from behind as a surprise. Solid way to trigger a panic attack. Triggers a flight response. I'm a guy but agree with this fully. Drunken shouting. That is. Pubs is even worse. Approaching me when I obviously don't want to be approached, i.e. I have headphones on. I'm on my phone. I'm reading or pretty much any other universal signal of I don't want to be disturbed. Some dude once pulled my headphones out of my ears to get my attention and scared me bad enough that I flung my coffee on him. He was not looking to talk to me after that. Not sure what he toughed would happen. Making comments about my breast. Often it's hidden as a compliment, but it's just plain creepy. Raising the voice while having an argument with me. Even if the dialogue is constructive overall, raising the voice gives me immense fear. Men are taller, heavier and stronger than I am. Being confronted with a man who is feeling anger towards me is horrific. To be fair, I was a victim of violence before, so that plays into it. Just don't scream PLS. Trying to convince me to give out certain information. My phone number ought to go with them. I don't think I have to explain this one. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.